This is still Stitch Art Fashion Training School, and today we'll be talking about factors you need to know before you start sewing. There are some things you need to know before you sit and sew. At this stage, we assume you are done with pattern drafting. You want to sit now and put that which you have cut together, okay? And I'm looking at of course, during sewing, you know you need tape. Again, I am very particular about consistency in the use of tape. If you ask me what a good tape entails, I don't know. So what I do is, of course, a good tape will start from 0 and end. The common one ends at 60, but we have some that ends at 150. So I just say from 0 to infinite. But consistency, whatever tape I use in drafting is what I use. I must have used that to measure if I'm measuring my clients. If I'm using a size chart, okay, I'll consult my size chart to draft. Then I now use that particular tape to draft, use it in sewing. I use that same tape in sewing, so that if there is an abnormality, it won't be noticed because I'm using the same tape over and over, the same tape from the beginning to the end. So we're looking at another factor you need to consider when you want to sit and sew, because you need speed, is to swash. What do I mean by that? You actually test that particular fabric you are to sew. Get the pieces from it, from the one you've cut, sew on your machine to check if it is sewing well. You find out that sometimes some particular fabric will actually need a special machine setting. That the tension on the machine has to be touched, adjusted to suit a particular fabric influence. So you don't need to start sewing and find out that you need to do this or that, you need to reset. Start from the beginning, swash, check if it is sewing well. Then your needle type. It's important that you understand that you need to change needle. You need to check the needle. If it's straight, that's number one. Number two, if it is appropriate for the fabric type you are working with. You don't expect to use a size 18 needle you would have used when making a jean or a thicker material for a chiffon that is lighter. So you need to check your needle type. It's important you check your needle type. Okay? Check your needle type. If you don't know what to do, ask questions. What needle type is appropriate? Maybe we are going to do that in one of our classes. Needle size for fabric against fabric influence. Alright, if you want that, let us know. Then we are looking at the straightness of your stitches. When you are sewing, especially when you are top stitching, remember, top stitch are decorative stitches. They are mostly decorative stitches. Sometimes some people use top stitch as for functional or corrective device. Maybe something is not staying, or you need to hold it on and you top stitch on it. But most of the time, top stitch are stitches that will be seen. So I tend to look at them as decorative stitches. Okay, and if you are sewing and you need to top stitch, you have to be sure that your stitches are straight. Now, when we tell students to invest time in practicing straight stitches, they think we are wasting their time. But you find out that when you are sewing and your stitches are not straight, they are wobbly, it tends to give you your project looks so unprofessional. The finishing is wobbly, and of course that makes the value of what you are making cheap. Because if your finishings are top-notch, then your value shoots higher. Then we have types of thread. We have different types of thread. The most common thread we use in sewing are the polyester thread. But we also have silk threads. We have some threads that are slightly thicker. You need to check what are you making? Are you making top stitch or just functional joining? What type of stitches will you consider appropriate for that particular project? Take for example, when you are interlocking, there's this thing we call English weaving in our community here. It's tight tension weaving, overlock. And I find out that when you use polyester to do an overlock for such a project with with time and if you are washing, you find out that when you're washing that project, as in durability of polyester on tight tension, that's as decorative overlock, you find out that it start having weaves. But if you had used a silk thread to do that tight tension, it tends to last better. So you need to also know your type of thread. It is not every thread you see that you use. If you are making an overlock and you need functional, if you are doing top stitch, you need threads that are slightly thicker so that it will highlight the stitch. Okay, sometimes we see tailors or designers using the polyester, doubling the thread. Yes, we do that, but there are threads that are appropriate for this project. And if you have a question, let us know. But these are just a few of the factors you need to consider before you start sewing that will enable you gain speed. And all these factors bottoms line to you gaining speed, achieving a professional finished project. Because on speed, you need a time limit per project. You cannot be on a project indefinitely. Most times you find out that we're always having, what will I call it now? When a client gives you clothes, there is a time frame for that project. So you cannot, when you are making a project, if you're on a project, you need time limits. You need to be conscious of time. So all these factors you need to consider will also help you gain speed. And I think that's a wrap.